my mum was pulled out of the car with a gun against her head. I was the youngest past contestant. Be confident enough, sexy enough to look them in the eye.
So your husband has got hundreds of hours of unseen footage of Michael Jackson.
There was always referrals to the Jacksons in my life.
Did you make good money singing?
The interviewer was stating that it's almost like a modern Janet Jackson.
What do you think Matt's true thoughts are about Michael Jackson?
He's the most loyal person you can find, Matt is. He knows what he's done, and he's got the footage that he never talks about that. He never tells me about any of these little things.
You're married to someone who's nearly a billionaire as well now. Are you attracted to money?
Is Michael Jackson still alive? Is there a little chance he is?
I'm not trying to do this to trigger people watching.
That's okay.
But I have to ask it. So today we are joined by Moniqe Fiddes. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
No, honestly, over the moon that you've come on. Now, I'm into me music massively. Absolutely love music. And Matt told me that you did very well with your singing career in South Africa.
Yes.
And I feel like, again, for one, I want to get more singers on. And who better than someone who's charted and went viral with music and played on every radio station all over the place. And yes, illustrious career. So I want to get into that. So you grew up in South Africa, didn't you?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in South Africa. So I only moved over about 12, 13 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was it like getting brought up in South Africa?
I mean, it changed. I had the conversation earlier with somebody, and it was like literally from being born in South Africa in the area there was. I've been brought up in like a village. So for 9 years almost, I was living there, and it was different because you can just go out to a park, play, and do whatever you want to. And then that was literally completely destroyed the whole. It was like a mine village type thing. Everybody worked there. Lived there, worked on the mines. So it was like a mine, like a village house. They been given by the mine a car and everything like that, so everyone was like a community family basically there. And then it was I don't know what the English word is, sorry, because English is my second language. I'm Afrikaans, but it's called platgestroopt, so it means like completely destroyed. Basically, there was nothing left, so they've all the houses, everything, so it's just literally a field basically now. So we had to move to a place called Witbank, and then I moved there, and then lived there for majority of the time I've lived in South Africa. So then that was different because that was like a town becoming a city now. So it wasn't as safe to do whatever you want to, but yeah.
So did you grow up around poverty and stuff?
Yes, so it was quite up and down. My dad had a good job, but with everything that happened, the mine house and the car and things, it changed because then they had to provide that, like pay for it and things like that, different than what it was when it was given a part of the job. So we moved and bought a property in Witbank, and we lived there for a bit, and my parents sold it. And then, yeah, if a few times my... I can say the circumstances changed where we were basically not that wealthy. My parents did very well. I mean, and they provide everything they could possibly for us. But it was up and down. So I know how it is to be poor, and I know how it is to have money because I had to work for it. When I was 16, I kind of like went on a tour with my dad. My dad left this job, so I was kind of like helping with earning the money into the house and things like that, and that was pretty intense. But I mean, they've given us the best upbringing they could possibly do.
The reason I asked that is, like, when it comes to, and I asked the poverty question because, again, it's just trying to get a feel for you and how you grew up, in money and kind of if you're supported financially. That's a big thing, especially when you get into singing and stuff as well, because you see a lot of people who've got fancy equipment, they've got studio time, you've got X, Y, and Z, and it kind of molds them into almost a manufactured artist. Like, it's all I've known, I've had the best of everything around us. But I think for you, when you say you've understood what it's like to be up and down and being poor and not, what does actually being poor look like? Because again, there's going to be a range in itself, isn't it?
We've had situations where we just had bread and milk in the fridge, but we got by. It was always like, I've been brought up in a very religious family, so we've always had faith that things will work out and things will be provided, and it has. There was a lot of the situation I've never spoke about, but where we had for instance, when we were at gunpoint in 2011, myself and my mum was kept gunpoint to our head at our house, and they literally took everything. They took all our TVs, even our toasters, our microwaves, our kettles, everything. We were left with our clothing. I mean, they took all our jewelry. I can't say that word, so don't laugh at me. But yeah, so they took everything, literally. We were left with basically our sofas and our clothes, and they took all my music equipment, everything we've been working for all our life, they've taken. In that process, my dad had basically had his pension paid out, and the main reason we went into the bank that morning actually to get my dad's pension money, because back then cash was everything. So we went to get my dad's pension, got the money, my mum's handbag. My car was wrapped in Monique Fox. I was sponsored by Volkswagen. So my car was wrapped with my picture. So that, like, I don't know if it was an inside story, but inside job, sorry. But we were parked outside the bank, and we went in and walked to the cashier, the person that was helping there. And the particular person that helped us got all our details, like my mum's account details, our address, our name and everything. And all of a sudden that person disappears. And we're waiting and waiting, and somebody else came and helped us. Got in the car, drove home. Of course, between us driving home and that particular time that person disappeared, I don't know, I'm not being what's the word? Being a conspiracy.
Conspiring.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
sorry, yeah.
Of course.
But it all kind of like sounds like that could have been the case. We basically then drove back home straight from there with all this cash in my mum's handbag, got to the house, into the garage, and my mum was pulled out of the car with a gun against her head. And of course, I was too. I've managed to take my phone and hidden into my trousers, and literally hoped, because it was BlackBerry back then, it was a bit bing, 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 bing. And like I responded to everybody on my phone, but I didn't think actually, oh my gosh, I need to put my phone on silence. But yeah, I had my phone in my trousers, went into the house. Literally been pulled around asking where's my phone with a gun against my head. And I'm thinking, like, if I tell them where my phone is, because I literally just put it in my, are they going to ask me to undress, or what's going to happen? And at that point, I've been brought up like,
Religious.
yes. So I mean, like, the last thing, I don't want to be raped or anything like that, like as my first time or anything like that. So it was, all these thoughts was going through my head and things while it was happening. And it was terrifying seeing my mum being pushed on the floor, literally, with a gun pointing at her. And I think that in that situation, I always think back, like, why was I not panicking as much about myself? But I think it's because I had my mum there. I think if I was alone, it would probably be a different thing. But seeing my mum, that's taken the anxiety and the panic away from me, and it was just on her, basically, me just wanting to make sure she was okay. Anyways, I like to a point where they asked where my phone is, and my mum was thinking straight away, oh my gosh, she's hidden it probably. So she told them, oh no, the phone's in the handbag, which is in the car, because she didn't want me to kind of like my mum knows me, she know I would just hide my phone or anything like that. And then basically we had a spare phone in the handbag, so we went to the car, and they got it, and unfortunately all the cash was in the handbag, so my dad's whole pension went. So that was a struggle, like literally having to build ourselves up again. My dad at that time, he didn't have a job, he left his job to tour with me and things. So saying what I said earlier is, like, we always believe that it gets provided and things like that. We had faith completely that things will fall back into place. We had this lovely guy called Dean that worked with my dad. He had a water factory or something like that, and he just randomly gave his credit card to my dad and said, go and buy her a new guitar, go and buy this, blah, blah, blah. We got through it. I mean, I've been in situations where, like, literally we just, like I said, I had bread and milk in the fridge with going through that time period and things like that. So I know how it is to struggle, but yeah, my parents has always made sure that there's food on the table. And
have you got siblings as well?
I do. Yeah. I have. I'm the youngest.
Right. Okay.
So
were they in and around when this happened?
So I was the only one in the house.
Right.
So
okay.
yeah, my sister was waiting outside the gate to run in when all this happened. My brother lives actually in the UK. He lives in between South Africa and the UK. He's married to a British citizen as well. So
See, you know what's crazy about that? Obviously, it's probably a little bit different then as well, and in South Africa. I'm not sure how it's like the legality surrounding the situation or the legal structure, if you like, but you'd assume that there'd be some kind of insurance in place. Like you get robbed, you'd claim. Obviously, with what happened, you know, they took your dad's pension. That was it, wasn't it?
yeah,
It's gone.
Like it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money, and that's gone. There's no way getting that back, and everything else in the house was taken. So it was like starting all over again, and my dad had to go and search for a new job and everything. And I mean, it took time. He did manage to earning money with music. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but that's not the greatest. Like, unless you're like literally constantly touring and things like that, there's not that much money in it, especially in South Africa. So going through that was tough. So I know how it feels to struggle. Like I always take it, like my mom always says when we're growing up, like as soon as you get given something, it can be taken away from you, so never take it for granted. And I think that's why, like I wouldn't say I'm not a materialistic person, because I do like buying things, but I don't particularly go and find the most expensive stuff. Like if I go to Primark and I see something, now I'll go buy that. Like I don't look at money. Like it's never promised to be there always. So yeah, I look at it differently.
I get it. I mean, you're married to someone who's nearly a billionaire as well now, which is, you still go to Primark. You alright, people? Hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Here's a random one for you. Most of you who are actually watching this episode don't actually subscribe to it. So just do us a favour, will you? Can you click the like button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another episode, hit subscribe, all that good stuff, because we go up and down the country to try and bring you the best show possible. We're not messing around here, so please just show some love, will you?
I still go to Primark.
I mean, again, it's coming from them beginnings which keep you grounded, doesn't it?
Do you know what? I've been asked recently, like, oh my gosh, you probably got this Louis Vuitton handbag, Gucci, and I'm like, I don't own any of that. I mean, Matt's bought me a Rolex recently for Christmas. That's probably pretty much my, like, for me, I still look at it as it's a gift. So for me, if I get bought something, if it's £10 or £100 or £100,000, example, for me, it means still the same thing. It's the fact that person's bought me something. And having money, you always realize, like, when you buy, like, I absolutely love giving, like, the same as Matt. Like, I absolutely love giving. That feeling of giving is much more, like, better than receiving something. But it's like little things. It's like, because we got money, we can give and help other people and buy gifts and stuff. But it's very hard because you sometimes feel like people think you got money, you don't need to be gifted something, you don't need to get a gift or anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's understandable.
So what I'm saying is like, if someone gives me something, it could be a cup of coffee or it could be £10 or something like that. That's just example, worth £10 or something like that. It's the fact that that gift means something, that person's gone out and did taken time out of their day to get it for you. So I do like things. I've got Ferrari. I've had a few different ones now. I do like it. I'm not going to say I'm one of those people and don't like it, because Matt calls me a diva. He says to me I'm hard. He says to people, I'm not hard work, but I'm like high maintenance in a way. But I don't think, like, I don't go every week and have this and that and that. I don't look at things like that. Like, I appreciate when I get chance to do something or get something. I really value it, and yeah, that's basically. So.
Your singing career, Monique. When did you realise you had an actual talent for singing?
So if I look back at the footage of me singing when I was younger, I don't know what my mum and dad was thinking, but honestly, I don't know. But I'm happy they pushed me. I mean, I didn't have a very much normal, I would say, childhood, because I was practicing music while kids was playing and stuff like that. I had to prepare songs. Every Sunday I was singing at the it was called Ronnebosch Ranch in South Africa, and it was like where people sit and have food and like have entertainment every Sunday. That was from the age of 12 to probably to 15. I did that every weekend, and if I wasn't performing somewhere else. It kept me, I always look at something like I don't know any difference. So I'm not going to be like saying, oh my gosh, I missed out on things and things like that. But my childhood was like learning new songs, performing, going to Eisteddfod's South African championships and stuff like that. So that was literally my parents pushed me to do that. So I watched a movie called Selena when I was 9. Watched the movie and I just had this feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. I want to be on stage. I want to perform. I want to sing. I want to be there. And I was just singing along one day, and my dad was like, oh my gosh, that's it. He bought extra speakers, mic and things like that. And I would just sing, and we would go to like all this singing talent shows and stuff. And I actually went on one where I was singing, and they were like, literally, oh, we've got to stop this and you got to restart, because they were thinking it was actually a track playing. It wasn't me singing. Yeah. And that was it. That was it for my parents. Like, okay, we're going to go full steam into that. So actually, I did that in the background, but I was into modeling. So I did catwalks and stuff like that in fashion TV in South Africa. So I was the youngest contestant, and like everyone else was in their 20s, 30s, like doing this. So they kept me kind of like into that type of, that was my social life basically growing up. Yeah.
What did you enjoy more, the fashion or the singing?
The fashion gave me confidence. It gave me the fact that you had to have that confidence to be able to look at the judges and like be, I don't know, be confident enough, sexy enough to look them in the eyes and things like that. Well, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been able to, like, I don't think, perform in front of people. Because I get quite shy. Like, I talk a lot, but I can't just talk to anybody.
Did you sing in English, or was it in Afrikaans?
This is the crazy thing is I hated singing in Afrikaans. I hated singing in Afrikaans. So I would sing now and then in Afrikaans, but it was all English. So I think that's why I've picked up on being able to speak English, probably.
Right, I get it. Because your accent's good. Like, you've got a good...
I wasn't always like this, though. My English friends used to tell me, please just speak Afrikaans. I can understand you, please. Stop talking English. So,
how much of the population in South Africa speak Afrikaans?
Do you know, Charlize Theron recently said, because she's from South Africa and she's speaking Afrikaans, and she said there's only like 4 people speaking Afrikaans. That's not true. I don't know where that statement, maybe she spoken about that. But there's a lot of people that understands Afrikaans. And again, actually English people, a lot of them can speak Afrikaans, basics. But not everybody can speak English, though. You can understand the basics. Like when I got with Matt, I used to say... there's a thing in South Africa when you say to somebody, I'm going to see you later, you say, I'll see you now. So now means now, but no in Afrikaans means now. So it's direct translated. There's no such thing. Like there's so that can mean I see you in 5 minutes. I can see you in an hour. So you used to say to me, when am I going to see you? Like, am I going to see you in 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour? So yeah.
So I need to ask the question, did you make good money singing? No. Because I think a lot of people would think, you're on all these radio stations, you've clearly got a talent, you're singing, Did you have albums out and stuff?
Yeah, I did, yes. I had, the album was called Akan, and did really well. I performed, I taught, I was in music shops, like different, back then there was music shops, so it was like posters everywhere. The crazy thing is that like we found a photo recently, and it is with me stood with all my posters around me, and in a music shop. I think it was called Musica. And literally above me was a little like photo of Michael Jackson holding his hand up. This is it.
Shut up, man.
And the crazy thing is, like, I'm married to Matt, of course, who was Michael Jackson's bodyguard. But a lot of things in my life, like, I didn't know much about Michael. Like, there was 2 songs playing in South Africa, but it was always known, and I'm saying this as respect on the most respectful way. The media was terrible against him. They used to say like the man that took his nose off at night, like Wacko Jacko and things like that, which is terrible. But that's who I knew. Like that's all I knew about Michael Jackson. But yeah, it was pretty crazy now looking back with all these little things around me that Michael was there in my life already. Like kind of
always
like
had it's because you've got. You're a religious person and you've kind of got the faith and stuff. It's almost like someone was giving you that them little
There was
signs
there
and
was
stuff,
there was
isn't
like I used to wear a glove on my
White glove.
not a white one, a black one. But Janet Jackson wears it. It's like basically the fingers is open. So it was like kind of my signature. Like that was my look and things like. And I just randomly started wearing that. It was nothing to do with like I looked at that person wearing it or blah blah blah.
Do you just have one cold hand, or?
Yeah, it's warm in South Africa,
yeah.
so but winters get cold. But I was literally I did one of my interviews, Dear Con Dear, and I was sat there, and the interviewer was stating there's almost like a modern Janet Jackson. So there was always referrals to the Jacksons in my life growing up, like not thinking anything of it. But I'm strongly like I believe in law of attraction completely, like subconsciously, even if you're not thinking about things, sometimes when you speak about something or someone talks about it, your brain takes it in. And I think it's amazing like how it works, to be honest.
It's mad you say that, because I've said this in other podcasts. I'm massive on law of attraction and manifestation and stuff. Even when I got Matt on, I knew I'd end up getting Matt on before I'd even met him, because I'd sit and I was like, I'll get him on the show at some point. And then it just so happens, and I don't know if Matt's told you the story, but when I filmed him the first time, when I got him on the podcast, I happened to be at an event in Birmingham, and I'm from 4 hours away.
Okay.
So even driving down there to be, and he was like, actually, I'm in that town.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you want to make it happen now? And he was like, now. I was like, yeah, but I didn't have me crew with us. I didn't have anyone with us. So I was like ringing around. Can you? And he was like, yeah, I'll meet you there. Let's just wing it. And then I'm driving Matt like a couple hours away back to wherever he was going to do this convention. And I thought, it's just crazy how it happens. And obviously now we're sitting down with you, and it's really nice to hear people's stories and see kind of, that there you were kind of doing your own singing career. You had all these little signs to
so I was in 2011 when it was September when it happened, and after being gunpoint, I was brought up very religious, as I mentioned before, so it was kind of like situations that happened with family members and things like that I made the decision that I didn't want to sleep with anybody until I got married. So I was like, I'm going to keep myself for my husband one day. So if I meet the right person, I just felt like I was going to meet somebody really special if I did that. So, and on the other bit, I didn't want to get pregnant before marriage, because my sister has a wonderful son. She's married to the person, but she got pregnant when she was 16, and she had this amazing talent, absolutely gorgeous girl, and she could have gone, she's still gorgeous, but she could have gone way far with modeling. But I feel that because she had to go back to school and she had her son, that she couldn't go further with that. And I feel like I wish I could turn back time and tell her, listen, you could still do it. So she didn't pursue that any further. So that was my motto. Like, I didn't want to go through that. So I wasn't interested in any of that. So I had boyfriends, but I wouldn't sleep with them, so they'll cheat on me and things like that. So basically what happened is I wrote a letter after being gunpoint. I was like, literally, I'm going to list down in my life, because when I was 9 years old, I wrote down a letter and I said, if I'm 16 and I get signed with music, that music will be meant for me. And I did get signed 2009. I got signed by a record company. So I was like, oh my gosh, I wrote down this and this happened. So I was like fully like, I strongly believe like if you write things down, it happens, right? So I don't know why, but that's how I was strongly believed in that. So I wrote down in 2011 that if basically I could meet the right person for me that will respect me, my morals as from overseas, and I put in brackets, my gift from God. And the only thing, if you look at the letter when you're English spoken person, the only thing you will be able to understand is the brackets, which is gift from God. Everything else is in Afrikaans. Anyways, I didn't think of anything of it, and I placed it away. And 6 months later, I met Matt. We basically had the same agent, which the agent was leaving from the UK to South Africa to come and meet me. He's also a friend of my brother's. And Matt just wanted to escape basically all the media and things like that back then, and wanted to come to South Africa. And randomly, me and Matt met like that. But this PR person basically said, we were at the same hotel, introduced me and Matt together. Like literally we met and became best friends. Literally within 2 weeks we got engaged. And after 3 months, we got married. But telling you the stories, we were at the Westcliff Hotel in South Africa. I had an event on and had to perform there. And Matt watched me sing, and he was actually at that point, he was like, literally, I'm going to marry her. I wasn't interested in dating or anything like that. So I was still not playing hard to get, but I was like, literally, I wasn't sure. I had a conversation just randomly one evening. I think it was like a week after I met him. And his mum sadly passed away from breast cancer. I had the privilege of speaking a few times to her. And she said to me just randomly, do you know what Matthew means? I was like, no, I don't. And she said to me, gift from God. I literally couldn't, you have no idea. I was like, that I took it in. I was
I think
like,
that sealed it for you.
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so weird, right? And then my mum, because my mum overheard the conversation as well, and she went to my Bible because I used to put all my letters in there. She got the letter out and she's like literally placed it in front of Matt, and all he can understand is the brackets bit, and literally took a photo of it and like, literally got somebody to just completely translate it. The PR guy, and he translated it, and it completely said literally Matt's name there. So I kind of like wrote down, I wanted like my gift from Matthew. So I was just like, that was like, I calmed down a little bit then. I was like, literally, maybe I should just give it a chance. Like literally, maybe I should give it a go. Like I said, he respected me fully until we got married. So it was, we were best mates, and we still are, which is amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very special. That.
So for me, it's like, that's why I say to you, like, I'm completely into law of attraction. I mean, he accepted me exactly the way I am, and still does. And I've just grown into who I am today because of him supporting me and being there for me as my best mate. So
it's unbelievable that. It's like a proper love story, isn't it?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't often talk about it because I'm one of those people, like, I don't like talking about religion because I feel there's so many religions out there and so many different people, different ways of them believing in different ways and things like that. And I respect fully anybody as long as you're a good person. Like,
Yeah.
So I kind of like don't talk about that often. But yeah, I think I've got strong faith, but also the law of attraction is massive. Like in my head, I was like, I strongly believe if you write something down, it could be yours, it could happen. You just got to believe.
It's unbelievable. But the beauty about it is now, the people who are listening or watching to this, Monique, now obviously you're married to Matt Fiddes, Prince Charming came into your life.
Cheeky Matt.
And people who haven't saw his episode and they might only watch this one, obviously he's the bodyguard of Michael Jackson, and obviously all the little kind of signs and stuff that you'd had throughout your life of the Jacksons and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that he was Michael Jackson's friend and bodyguard kind of before you guys met.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of I want to get some insights of that, because obviously there'll be things that you know that Matt told you that no one else really knows.
Okay.
So I'm going to just pick your brains a little bit. What do you think Matt's true thoughts are about Michael Jackson?
Absolutely adores him. Absolutely adored him. I see how he misses him a lot. Like, do you know the crazy thing is he's recently had somebody send a link to a video, and he randomly scrolled up. I think it's 2 videos up, and it's literally a video of someone doing an AI video of Michael saying, "Hey, it's me, Mike, your friend. I just wanted you to know, don't worry about me or anything like that. I'm okay. Up here, I'm looking down at you and things." Matt got so emotional. Like he said, this was so weird. It's like Mike speaking to me because I was thinking about him and just, like the whole idea of him not being here and things like that. And Mike used to say to Matt, like he didn't want to die. He wanted to live forever.
Because there's a lot of people who don't believe that Matt had the relationship that he did with Michael. There's a lot of speculation online, like he was just a bodyguard for so many years. They weren't really that close. Like, and this is what, again, from you, like, I need to verify these things.
I have had so many people, like, literally try to put me off Matt as well in the beginning of our relationship, that told me he's lying. He's never, like, literally, he's only worked for him once. He's the umbrella guy, blah, blah, blah. I've seen so much behind scenes footage of Matt being with Michael in different second, like literally in shopping centers, in like literally at a house, literally of the Jacksons, with their brothers, everybody in the room, like eating curry with I think it was curry, homemade curry or something like that, and the brothers and everybody together. Like I've seen so much, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, do you know what? Matt is like this. He's not trying to show off to anybody anything. If he wanted to, there's so much stuff that he could put out there to shut everybody up.
That's what I think.
But he's not like that, Matt isn't. He's not trying to prove anything to anybody. He's the most loyal person you can find, Matt is. Do you know what? There's so many people that literally he had actually not that long ago, and this is not about Michael Jackson, this is about a different celebrity, and I won't name it. He was given the opportunity to get paid, I think it was £250,000 on a book deal about somebody else he's worked with. And he basically, this celebrity person that he worked with would probably, if that was handed to that person would have done the book deal. Matt, on the other hand, he's got, if you work with Matt, he's got, the loyalty is like incredible. He's put that deal straight way down. He contacted that person and let them know about this people trying to do this, and he's turned it down. That's Matt. Like he doesn't want to show off at anybody. If someone's your mate, his mate, and it could be a celebrity or not a celebrity, the loyalty is incredible with Matt. So he doesn't want to show off. He doesn't want to prove anything. He knows what he's done, and he's got the footage there. Like, I mean, a lot of our like close friends and family members and myself, I've seen so much like. So I laugh at it when people like try to say that. I'm like, okay.
So your husband has got hundreds of hours of unseen footage of Michael Jackson.
So much.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen so much. Like Michael looked like such a nice, he's a cheeky character. Like, literally, he looks so, like, I wish I got to know him.
Sounds crazy, but does it attract you to Matt more? Knowing that he was befriended by someone who was loved that much? Because I think that's got to be powerful, right? Like, if you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram.
I would say Matt's got this like really beautiful personality, and that's definitely one of the main attractions to him. But having somebody so powerful in the music industry, like, wanted to be part of Matt too, that is amazing, isn't it? Like, it proves something that he's a loyal, like, I mean, there's so much things that people don't know about Matt that he does behind the scenes for charities, for like, not even just celebrities, but a lot of people he doesn't ever talk about. Like, for what, naming one thing, is one of my family members, well, it's not family actually of me, it's my sister's side of the family. Mum had breast cancer, and in South Africa they normally remove just one side. He's paid fully for both of sides to be removed. She's okay. I think it's been 8 years. She's all right. If that wasn't that, I don't know if she'd still be here. He never talks about that. He never tells me about any of these little things and stuff like that. So I think Michael probably saw that beautiful side of Matt, and that's why he wanted to be part of, like, have Matt part of his life as well.
Is there anything that you know about Michael Jackson that the world don't know, that Matt's told you?
I don't know. I don't know what the world knows about Michael and what they don't know about Michael.
Okay, then let's dig into it a bit more. You've got a guy who's you know, his goal is to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
I think he'll achieve it in the next 5 years.
Oh, for sure. He puts his mind to it. He does.
What is it like to live with someone who's that hungry to become a billionaire and who's on their way? Like, what's their patterns? What they're like? Are they hard to live with? Are they just because the way I look at it is, I've got a business and I'm very hungry, and I know I can probably be a nightmare to live with at times.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's flipping open the laptop at 10 o'clock at night. I've got a little girl.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
you kind of, it's probably a bit like, oh, yeah, just have a bit of time here.
Yeah.
But it's very hard when you're kind of on a mission.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like at the capacity of, you know, when you've got Lamborghinis and you're worth hundreds of millions and you're traveling the world and you've got all this status and stuff. Like, what is it like to live with that?
So I've had, like, literally, I was questioned not that long ago. I was in bed with Matt just late at night, and his phone rang. I think 4 different people. Somebody that works in politics, a supermodel, a celebrity, celebrity, and I think the other person was, oh gosh, it was a media person. And all these 4 people literally rang him within less than half an hour. I guess he had conversations with all these 4 different people. And he's like, don't this bother you? Like, I'm like, no, it doesn't bother me, because I know this is what you do. This is like been part of your life. Like, you want to grow the business, you want to grow in you as a person, individual, to help other people and things like that. So I completely understand he has to work. He has to work all these hours and things. Yes, it's not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes, like, we go on holiday, second day he's already bored because his brain is constantly wants to work. He wants to achieve the next level. He wants to help another person achieve their dream, because he doesn't just do the martial arts and stuff like that, or train celebrities and things like that. He does the MF Club thing, that he actually helps other people grow their businesses and stuff. And that's his passion. It became it was a hobby, but it became a massive passion. So it's not just the martial arts. That's literally over 1,800 locations, I think it is, that he's got franchises underneath that constantly needs his help and constantly wants to be in contact, and he's constantly there for them. So sometimes it gets hard, because I just want to have him a little bit for myself as well. But he does make time. He does make time for his kids. He does make time for me. I mean, we were on the Rich House, Poor House program a few years ago, and he changed a lot of ways then. I mean, he saved our son's life, Hero, because I didn't know first aid at the time. And because we did the show, he realized how much effort and how much time goes into keeping the house clean, because I do all that. Like, that's another question where people think, a lot of people in South Africa thought I have a chef, I have a cleaner every day. I do all those things myself. I don't, just because you got the money to do it, it doesn't mean you should have that and should do that, because I love being active. So I do all the house stuff. So if I expected Matt to do majority of the other things in the house and things, he won't be able to do his part. So I take that responsibility, and I help with the business here and there with things behind scenes and stuff, and property investing and things like that. But that's my job, to look after the kids, to make sure the house is a home. He provides the house, and I make it a home for us. So we work together, and when he can't have time to chill out and he has to work and things like that, I fully respect that. Like, but what I was saying about the Rich House Poor House program, he dealt with a lot where he didn't actually make a lot of time to take days off over the weekend. He used to just go training, and it would be constant, right? So one particular Sunday, he actually said, well, okay, I'm going to actually work on this. I'm actually going to stay home today and things like that. I was on a driveway about to drive off, because he was originally going to training, but then he said, no, he's going to stay back. And as I was pulling out of the driveway, my son, it looked like he was having a fit or something. I don't know what was happening. He was choking or something. I'm looking around, there's nothing. And he sat in his seat, and he was convulsing. And as I got him out, I carried him into the house screaming to Matt. Now, if Matt wasn't there, I don't know what I would have done, because he knows CPR. I didn't have any knowledge of first aid at all. And my son actually went blue to a stage where the first response took an hour. It was a Sunday, 8th of October, 2017, I think it was. And they took an hour to get to us, because they pressed the amber button by mistake. So Matt literally almost passed out at the time they got there, because he literally got him to breathe again. But like little things like that, it's like Matt, he's an incredible human being. Like, he's done a lot. And when he gets busy and things like that, I just take that as a pinch of salt, because it's like literally he does make time. He is there, and he's trying to provide and make a better life for all the kids and for us. If it's not for him working that hard and is this busy and things like that, we won't have the lifestyle we have.
Would you, and I think I'm just going to ask the question from maybe the viewer or the listener, would you rather less money and more Matt?
Do you know what? That is an interesting question. Like I said to you, I don't look at money in any other way of, I know it could be there, I know it couldn't, like it might not be there, because anything can happen, and nothing's promised tomorrow. But with all the hard work that he puts behind it to give us the lifestyle that he does, and the amount of kids. I mean, we've got 6 kids in total. I've got 3 little ones, and Matt's got 3, which is 3 of my stepdaughters. He's got to work hard to be able to provide and look after them all. Life is very expensive, even if you're not rich. Life is expensive. Even if you are rich, life is expensive. So you can have maybe more money, but you've got kids and you've got more expenses and stuff like that. Like I always say to people when I ask, like, literally, would you rather have less money and have more time with Matt? I would like more time with Matt, but I do have a lot of time with him, because people don't realize whenever we are doing, like, literally going away or working and things like that, he always makes sure that if the kids can come with me, they are there. Otherwise, he'll have the kids looked after, but he have me around. So I'll be in the same area as him. I might do my own thing, or I might be in the same environment of what he's doing things, but he always makes sure that he makes me part of everything. So that's the difference. I think if he was leaving me alone constantly and touring and going, like, literally with his martial arts and not making me part of it, I would definitely say to you, no, I much prefer having Matt the whole time. But I know that life is expensive, and if we want to have the lifestyle that we have, it's just one of those things.
Has he always had the level of wealth that he's had since he's been with you?
He's been very successful when I got with him. I mean, of course, different success, like between me working hard and having my success in South Africa, and coming over and having, like, witnessing his success. And but the past 12 years, I mean, his business grown 3 times the size. Like, literally during COVID, and this is the crazy thing, is like Matt sat down and he was the first to think of how to do MF the martial arts online. He was sat there, he was watching the news came up, there's going to be a lockdown. The first thing he was thinking of, like, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make sure all the franchises okay? Like, literally make sure everybody else is okay. And he went and straight away worked on it, and he made it work. So he's very much like, when he touches something, it becomes gold, I always say to him. Like, literally, he's very much passionate in making everything better, like, than what it is. So he's made it grow like 3 times the size since I got with him.
I think he's worth about 130 million, is what I've heard. What's someone who's worth that kind of money? What's their routine like?
Matt does everything opposite than what the 5 a.m. people.
Okay, then. So what is
he
the,
does
what is
like
his routine?
he does
is he
not
sleeping
wake
in
up
all day and?
So basically I call him like night owl. He basically sleeps in. I had to get used to that.
I noticed, because when I speak to him, his WhatsApp's active late, like, and I'm thinking.
Yes. So I used to be at, like, wake up really early. This is before I had kids, so wake up really early. And then I got with him, and I've got used to sleeping a little bit longer in, but I can't sleep in like he does. He can sleep. My kids can sleep, like, literally. I have to physically wake them up to get them to wake up. So my kids are all like mad, like they love sleeping. But Matt sleeps in, and then he wakes up, and then he's full steam working. And he, like, nighttime, I think, is probably when he gets his best ideas.
Obviously, you've been. How long have you been together? 13 years.
13 years, and yeah.
13 years. I'm just trying to work it out when Michael.
So April will be 13 years.
So when did Michael Jackson die?
2009.
Right. So yeah. So just before you kind of got together.
We got quite an age gap. We don't always talk about it. But right. 2009, I would have been 16. So.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
So that's the start of my career. I got signed on a 16. So.
Ah, right,
yeah, so
right. I get
like
it.
14 years difference.
14 years apart.
Yeah.
Are you 31?
Yeah.
Whoosh, that's mad. That didn't realise.
Yeah. Why do I look older?
No, I feel like I've put myself on the trap there.
Okay.
Well, I just assumed that you were kind of the same age. I don't know. But to be fair, no, I probably thought you were a bit older than what you were.
Yeah.
But I thought Matt was older than that because of his status and his credibility and what he's achieved. I feel like
Well, he started way early, didn't he? So.
well, it's a lot for 40-odd-year-old. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So which is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's inspiring. So it's good to see that. Obviously Matt's friends. Obviously he's friends with Nigel Farage and people like that. Do you know these guys as well?
I do.
Yeah, and what are they like? So someone like Nigel Farage, what's he actually like?
Lovely.
Is he?
Absolutely lovely. Such a humble, like literally a humble man.
The reason I ask you that, again, for the people who, I mean, everyone in the UK know who Nigel Farage is, but he's obviously reform, and a lot of that is all about immigration and things like that. Yeah. Obviously, you're foreign, and you're living in the UK.
Yeah.
If you know mass immigration was a thing, I don't know how the UK would view people like yourself. So, and that's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on all that politically,
So,
as someone from South Africa living in the UK?
yeah. So I find it. There's a lot of countries that can just come in and literally live here. Didn't have to prove any funds. Didn't have to, like, literally just claim benefits or blah blah blah. My situation, I find, if it was a situation where you like literally person had to provide funds of how to live here, they're going to work. They're not going to claim any benefits, and that's what I had to go through. Like Matt had to provide the amount of evidence that he can support me as his wife. It went through a 6-year process before I became a citizen. So in 2019, I only became a British citizen. I've got photos, I've got this amount of like literally paperwork and everything that I had to provide. I mean, it was from being a permanent resident to becoming a citizen of the UK. If it went for Matt earning so much money, I had to pay surcharge fees to have NHS. For medical and everything like that. It wasn't like I came over and all of a sudden I'm living here and blah, blah, blah. I had to provide so much evidence that we can afford for myself to live here, that I was going to pay tax, I was going to pay surcharge fees and everything. I think to a point, I don't agree with everything. I'm not very much into politics and things like that. But I find if a person is coming over and they've got a reason, a valid reason to come over, and they are going to contribute to the UK, I don't find that a bad thing. Yeah. I find if people are coming over here because they can't afford to live in their countries and they're coming over here to claim benefits and things like that, I think that's completely wrong. And I think that should be stopped. And I think it shouldn't be that easy for them to bring their families over and things like that, because I can't bring my mum and dad over. Yeah. Like, although my dad's and like his father's father was born in the UK, I still can't get them over here unless they are going to live with us and they claim I think it's asylum or something like that. But they won't do it because they will only come over legally if they could. Hence why they're still in South Africa.
Well, the reason I ask, and again, I think it was important to ask because, well, that's it. I think it's important for people to understand that. But secondly, obviously, your other half is friends with a guy who campaigns reform, but effectively would have the biggest strain on people like yourself. Because ultimately it would affect you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I had to ask the question. Yeah. So I feel like it's just an interesting question to ask someone who's literally done it. Yeah. But I mean, you've done it properly. You've went through the process. You've
had to. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But it's interesting because if we understand that mass immigration and stuff, there's definitely like there's certain problems with all that type of stuff, and things need to be regulated. You get in certain different types of scenarios, but there's almost like a bigger question to ask when it comes to people who've actually been through that process. And I haven't had the pleasure of sitting down with many of those people.
Oh, it's stressful. Like I was about to give birth to my second hero, and I had a letter sent from immigration to my maiden name, which is because my passport was on my maiden name. And it was sent to a different address, which I've updated it, but they didn't update it, like, for some reason on their end. So they mistakenly sent me a letter that I need to go back to South Africa, and I'm about to go into labor any point now.
Really?
Literally. It was so scary, and I had to provide evidence that I have changed my address, and I have changed and updated it, blah, blah, blah. And they had to apologize and stuff. But it is so scary being told you have to go back when you've gone through a whole process. So I don't, like, Nigel as a person, I absolutely adore him. He's lovely. I don't know the ins and outs of what he stands for reform and everything like that, because I don't really look into politics and stuff like that. But I definitely, it's not a conversation I've had ever with him, like what I've gone through as you say, as a foreigner coming from a different country over here. Maybe it's something that I should talk to him about.
I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I definitely think it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to have the conversation with him. And
because I haven't actually thought about it, so.
I just, it was the first thing that stood out to me, because obviously I know Matt and who he's surrounded by. And I just, and again, it's like, there's nothing wrong with, and it's just having the question, it's having them debates and thinking, it's actually quite interesting that. And there's not many people who are in your position, not many people who are in Matt's position. Yeah. And he's worked very hard to be in that position. Yeah. So if you've got a network and questions to be asked, a lot of people can get value from that stuff.
Definitely.
Who else does Matt hang around with?
So, do you know who Uri Geller is?
Yes.
Okay, so he's one of our closest friends.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely man.
He's actually godfather, isn't he?
Madison,
yes, Madison.
Yeah. And they're absolutely lovely. He's lovely. I think that's the closest I got to Michael Jackson, I think.
What was that?
Because he worked with Michael Jackson, so I think that's probably the closest to anybody other than Matt to Michael Jackson, I think.
A question I've got for you. It's a obviously you've went from you've had the poverty and you've had all that type of stuff to obviously being, you've got a Ferrari, you've got the nicer things in life, you live in a lovely house and all the rest of it. Does it, again, how does that, and I'm not trying to do this to trigger people watching.
That's okay.
But I have to ask it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, and again, you've married a man who's got wealth, do you feel like you deserve it?
I don't think anybody deserves anything. I think if you work hard for something, I think anybody deserves everything in life. And I wish, personally, that everybody had the same wealth. Honestly, I hate the fact that some people work so hard and don't have the ability to live their life properly and full on, fully, that to the extent of what they deserve to. I've seen my dad work his bum off, literally, all his life, and had this passion for music, and he failed to follow that dream because he was made into follow society rules. You've got to do mining like his dad did mining and everybody else, and he was forced into doing that, and he didn't have a choice because he had to make a living for himself. And he worked so hard in the mines for years, deserves a trophy, literally. And I mean, his pension was taken from us because of the gunpoint and things like that. He's worked so hard, harder than probably a lot of people work like that. That's really wealthy. That's barely done any physical work, if that makes sense to say it. Yes. And he doesn't get he doesn't get that recognition or get to live the amazing life he deserves to. I mean, we try to make that life as amazing as possible. I mean, Matt, all the time, that's one of my dreams as well, to change my mum and dad's life, because they did so much. Although we went through struggles and up and downs in our life, they've always drove me to the last fuel out, basically, that one particular day for me to go and did my show where I met Matt. As well. So I will always be forever grateful for them for doing that, like literally using their last money at that particular time to get me where I needed to be. So I feel that's one of my motives as well when I was younger. It's like, I want to change my parents' life. I want to change people's life around me. I mean, I've never been normal in my life, like when I was younger as well. Like I've always been a little bit different. I used to perform 12, 13 years old and get money, and I would go but buy groceries for my mum's one of 12, and some of them, they struggled very, very much, of my aunties and uncles, and I used to go and use my money to go and buy them groceries. I would go at we say garage, like a service station in South Africa, and I will go and buy loads of like pies and stuff, and I can't wait to hand it out to the homeless people around there, because that's one thing I miss, really, because in the UK you find a lot of people in the streets and stuff, but they are, I'm not saying everybody, but they make wrong choices by using drugs and stuff like that, right? You can tell that when people are using drugs, or they really struggle. In South Africa, like, you don't get the benefits and stuff like that you get here. So the most amazing feeling is going and buying stuff and handing out. That's not normal for a 12, 13-year-old to use your last money. So I've always, and that's what me and Matt got in common as well. Like, we both left school when we were 16, was bullied in school. Absolutely, it was horrendous for me in school. Like, literally, I was never the popular kid. I was always like, I want to get you drunk. I want to see how it is to get you drunk and things like that. I'm not drinking and things like that. And I'll be hated, and I'll be like pushed around in school and things like that. So I hated school. I absolutely hated it. So me and Matt got a lot in common, like being bullied, left school at 16, went after what we wanted to do.
I think a lot of those things of handing out stuff in the streets and stuff is probably a lot of your faith background as well. Because obviously that kind of, it's almost like helping community and
that's what me and Matt got in common. It's like we absolutely strive on helping other people and giving and changing people's lives. Like, that's what we live for.
Do you because you've seen that, right? Was the majority of your friends like that as well? Like, you know, like milk and bread in the fridge at home, or make, you know what I mean? Like, very limited resources and stuff, or was it just you? Like,
no, do you know what?
Was that quite common in South Africa to live like that?
Not to that extent, no. I don't think I never spoken about it really to my friends. My friends were always older than me, so they've used to have jobs and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it was the same, no.
Well, the reason I asked that question is, I want to know, first and foremost, are you still in contact with people who you grew up with? Yeah. And secondly, have you experienced jealousy? Because you've literally went from that world to having Ferraris and because even I'm not saying it's a step up, but going from that life to being in the UK,
it's a massive change.
It is a bit of a
it's a massive change. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said to me and Matt, like, give it a year, you guys won't work.
I thought that people would say that.
So many people tried to put Matt off me, like, literally.
Do people call you as well? Do people say, like, are you a gold digger and all that type of...
Oh, I've had that before. But then literally, Matt was going to give everything up in the UK to come and live with me in South Africa. I didn't want to move over. So a lot of people thought, oh, she just wants to go over to UK and thing. For the first almost like 6-7 months, I didn't want to move over to the UK. I wanted to stay in South Africa. I didn't want to leave my mom and dad. I didn't want to leave. Like, I'm so close to my family. We're a massive family. I'm very much a family person. So I didn't want to leave. I'm at the peak of my career. I'm like, I want to do music. Like, even the record company was like, literally, oh, Moniqe, you have to stay here for 6 months, and then you can go over to UK for 6 months. You're not allowed to leave the country within for 6 months. You got to work on your new album and stuff. I had to get lawyers involved and everything. Like, I had to leave, like, all that behind, because it was literally, as other way, I chose my career and my life in South Africa, or I chose Matt. And he was willing to give everything up. He was like, listen, I'll move to South Africa. I'm like, we got a house there. We were staying there. And he had to travel back and forwards to the UK and South Africa. And just to one particular day, I just said, I can't do this. I'm going to move over. I'm like, you've got 3 daughters here, which is basically with the age of my kids now. And I was just like, I need to move over. I need to, like, I'm in it. This is my marriage. I absolutely love and adore this guy. So I'm going to go over. And that was my choice. But it didn't happen instantly. I wanted to stay in South Africa. I didn't care. Like, I mean, I didn't care about anything that was happening over here. I didn't care about that. Like, so a lot of people said, oh, she was just after a British, like, passport and things like that. I could have chosen in 2019, I could have chose to keep my South African passport and get a British. I gave up my citizenship in South Africa. I want to be the same as my kids and my husband. So I had a lot of people like literally, and a lot of friends that's not friends anymore because they only wanted to know like what happens in my life and things like that, and like be part of if there's events or if there's media or anything like that. And then within time you're like, you don't hear from them, nothing and things, and it's just like, how is life going, like what's happening with Matt. It's always like everything is always about Matt. So it did change a lot. And then I have my group of friends that I had before I became Moniqe Fox as well, that was in school with me, that I'm like my best friend. I'm still in contact. I saw her just recently when I went to South Africa two weeks ago. And so I've got a few people that still knew me before everything else, and they're like still completely the same, haven't changed. And it's like we see in each other yesterday. It's like we just basically picked up where we left. And then there's a few people that has literally just moved on, and others that's literally just questions about Matt, to be honest. So
have you had jealousy though?
Of course, yeah. So much. I've had literally parents of some of my friends when I got with Matt that would literally sit at the same table and they'll try to like literally not sell their daughters to him, but like over exaggerate and like say this and this and this about their daughters so he can like them. Like it's crazy.
That's mad, that.
And I had to like get used to the fact as well that Matt was the main figure in our relationship, really, when coming to other people around us because they know him. Like I had to get used to that, though.
I wanted to ask you that, and this is what I mean. And this is so doing 100 podcasts, right? I've started to understand what viewers and listeners want to hear.
Okay.
And it's not always my curiosity. This is like you just kind of get what questions to ask, I guess. And obviously getting to know you and getting to know your story and that, I think it's phenomenal. It's unbelievable because I think it's, and this is why, I mean, I said at the start, I understand that people will know who you are because of Matt. I totally understand that. But you're still a person, you're on, right? Yeah. And you've still did things and achieved things and had your own success. Yeah. Meeting Matt has just been part of your journey. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, but what I would like to ask is, because there'll be other lads out there, there'll be girls out there. How much of Matt's success are you attracted to money as well? Like, you know, if you met Matt and he was stone broke, would I know you're going to say, of course, you'd fall in love with him, but is that an attraction? Like, do you know what I mean? Because I think that's a fair question to ask, because, I mean, I'll answer it, right? I think, like, for me, I think it is an attraction.
Do you know what? He made me feel like a princess when I got with him.
Through money or not?
Not just money. The way he was doing it, like, he was spoiling me, but also, if he weren't successful how he was, he wouldn't have been able to fly out to South Africa. I wouldn't have met him. If it weren't for him being successful and being able to afford anything, he wouldn't have been at the same hotel as me. He wouldn't have been able to help with the visas and stuff. I wouldn't have been able to, like, even though my success in my music, and my parents wouldn't have been able to afford the visa prices and stuff like that, the applications of being able to move here to be with him.
But would you have saved up? So Matt's met you. You've still met at this event, right? Well, and you're in contact.
Yes.
But if you had to save up to get a flight and he had to save, and would you have still?
Of course I would have.
Yeah.
He was different. He was, like I said to you, like, it was a massive thing for me. It's like I wrote down if I can meet somebody that's different, that respect my morals. That he was different. He was a gentleman. Like, I've never met anybody like that. I don't think I was attracted to him, like, particularly him being a man, successful, blah blah blah. I was attracted to his personality, him as a person. Like, we just clicked.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I mean, because I guess, like, love is love.
I wouldn't say to anybody like money doesn't have anything to do. Because I think, like, if you look at somebody, they're successful, that is an attraction because it means that person's working really hard.
That's what I was asking. That's what I was getting at. So
if you're telling me, like, you're meeting somebody and they're not successful yet, there's clearly something wrong in that time period of their life for him not to be successful. And I'm not saying, like, it's the person's fault, but if you're, like, literally out there and you're working really hard and you're earning money, and I'm not saying it has to be a certain amount of money, but you're working hard to earn money and you can provide, that is an attraction.
What about if you're working hard and you're not providing?
Why is the reason why you're not providing?
So you're working hard, but you're just making ends meet. But he's still working 6 days a week, and he's, you know, sweating, and he's putting physical labour, and he's doing everything. He's treating you like a princess. But ultimately, you're just breadline. You're just surviving. Is the attraction still there? Do you think?
I think so, because he's working hard.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive thing. I think if a person's working hard to be able to provide as much as they can, that is an attraction, because that person's level of focus, it is there to provide.
Do you think there's a balance though? Because this is another interesting bit.
Okay.
So you're working hard to
Yeah.
provide, but can you be working too hard as well?
I think that is, yeah, I think that is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is possible. Like, I find sometimes Matt works too hard.
Because, well, and the reason I ask you this, Monique, is because I know there'll be females watching this because you're on, and there'll be people who want to know what it's like to be with a wealthy man.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. Whether
Yeah.
they admit it or not, they'll watch it for that
Yeah.
reason, right? Is there a level of wealth that you think that's perfect? And I don't mean like, well, when you get to 100, you know, you get a Ferrari. I don't mean
No.
that. I mean, because that's by the by. I bet you there's people who are far wealthier than Matt who
Yeah.
don't spend a penny on their wife.
Do you know?
So there will be that as well.
Yeah. And
Or there'll be people who get more than what you've got
Yeah.
and have less money than
And
Matt.
there's a lot of males that I've heard spoken that's literally earning all this money, and they're like, "Oh, my children's not having any of that. They gotta work for their own money."
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, I'm not saying you're supposed to hand it out to your kids or anything like that, but if you got the ability to create a different life for your kids
Course
and
you would,
give
wouldn't
them
you?
the best, why not?
Of course you would.
Like,
You're resourceful, aren't
I've
you?
had a
That's-
lot of people say to me, like, you're spoiling your kids too much. No, do you know what? My mum and dad earned a certain amount of money. They made sure that we had a great Christmas or great birthday, or they spent money on us making sure our life is as best as possible. If you can provide your best to a child, why not?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why does there have to be a limit on it? And if that child's respectful and appreciating it, why not?
Is there a level of wealth though? Like, is there okay? What could you advise? So, is there a do you know anything more than if your husband's making 500 grand a year?
Okay.
That's enough. Is there a level? Because I know that in the UK they say that 80 grand. If you make 80 grand, a household makes 80 grand, they say that that's kind of the sweet spot. Once you get over that, it's almost like you're just working too much and your life doesn't change much more. You can still go on holiday, you can still have a nice car, you can still have a decent house. It obviously depends where you live,
But
but
it depends on if you're trying to help other people.
well, that's it. But then
That's-
where does that end? Because then you could never make enough money.
Yeah, but then
'Cause you could help the
you
world,
can never
couldn't you?
give enough, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, for instance, and this is what, because I understand it. I'm not at Matt's level of wealth, but I'm a bit of a workaholic. I
Okay.
know I am.
Yeah.
So, and I understand this, and I have my own business, and I know all the crux of the things that
Yeah.
go on. So, as much as I'm not at his level yet, I also understand that there's a lot of things me and him will do exactly the same.
Yeah.
He's just further on in his journey.
Yeah.
Now, there'll be people out there who don't understand that actually you don't need to do all that, because the more you work, the more money you make, the more smart you can become, and the more people. So if Matt has made 200 million in his life,
Yeah.
why would he? He'll never stop.
No.
He'll stop when he
He
dies,
loves it
won't he?
too
That's
much,
what will
though.
happen.
Yeah.
I know, but and that's what I'm getting at. So, do you think there's a point where you're like, actually, let's just, because he could retire today. So
He could have retired when he was 40.
That's what I mean.
He was gonna retire.
Do you not want him to?
No, because I know if he sits still, his mind will go crazy, and he'll probably die younger. Because he's one of those people. I think a lot of people I think people's different. You've got people that's wanting to do what they do just to get by, and they're fine, happy with that. Matt he's constantly thinking of ideas of doing something because he's got passionate, like a passion for doing things, new ideas, helping other people. And I think that'll never stop. I don't think whenever you reach any level, I don't think he'll ever stop. And the reason why I say this is because I know how much it means for him to help others, and he likes being busy. He does not like sitting still. I mean, we go on holiday. The second day, like I said earlier, he's literally bored. He gets back on the phone. He's like, I'm going to have a week off. I'm not going to work on my phone for a week. We're on a holiday. And he'll spend time with the kids. He'll have some parts of the day where he's not doing work. But I'm so used to that's him. That makes him happy. So I'm cool with that. Like I can't sit still sometimes at home. When he wants me to sit still, I'm constantly finding something to do as well. So we both got that. It's just different things that we're doing.
So it's funny, right? Because growing up, me personally, I'm not from money, right?
Yes.
So, when I mix with people who've got money, and I know a lot of wealthy people, there's part of us where, I love it because I'm inspired and I'm working hard and I want to be in that position. But the other part, if I'm introduced to friends and stuff who are wealthy and they're doing X, Y, and Z, and I've got a lot of friends on Matt's kind of level and stuff like that. Part of us feels a bit icky. Deep. I can't explain what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird. And I want to know if you know what I mean, because it's almost like sometimes I meet people, I'm like, you can't relate to me. You've got no idea. You've got no idea. You're not going to find the happiness in the stuff I am, because you just haven't been from this walk of life, this world. So do you ever find that or not?
I think on the same level with Matt is, I think why we get each other is he was 16 and he was literally asked to leave the house, had to go into a bedsit, and he had to find a way for him to change his life. He's been there. So I think that's why we can relate. He's been
I
there.
get that.
I think if Matt didn't have that, and I think he had the wealth handed over, like from family and things like that, I think I would have probably felt the way you just said to me.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the fact that he has lived in the bedsits and has made him how he is.
Yeah, it's hard to describe to somebody if you've been there. Like, if somebody...
No, but I'm talking about more maybe his friends, because he'll have wealthy friends who grew up with money.
Yeah.
So do you ever meet people like that and you're like, we're not friends really?
It's because they don't appreciate really what they got, and they don't really appreciate the value of what they have and what they can do as much as a person that's worked really hard to get there.
Do you ever feel less of a person? So I'll tell you a good story. So, well, I'll not tell you a particular story, but I'll tell you what I mean. So
Okay.
I've been in situations when I was younger, when I've been around very wealthy people, and their parents were very wealthy, and I've lived in nice areas as I went through life and stuff. As situations got better, and I remember sometimes feeling like it's like almost like I'm the kid from the council estate.
Yeah.
Like I'm not, like yous are all have got amazing everything. I mean, don't get us wrong, I loved my childhood. It was I don't want to put that out there, but sometimes I used to feel like, oh, I'm just like the skint one with no money.
Yeah, no, I mean, like...
Do you ever feel that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was growing up, I used to feel like that, because a lot of my friends, they were all way more wealthier than what, I mean, we were. And it's hard because it's not something that you can talk to them about, is it? You can't just mention to them like I'm feeling like I'm less worth, or like literally I'm not good enough, because you don't have the same wealth as them and things like that.
But do you feel like that now, ever?
I don't feel like that. I don't think the people that we surround ourselves with we're very, very picky who we allow in our close circle. And everybody that we are in contact with and is part of our life is decent people and has kind of been where we've been to get where they are. I won't be able to say I've not felt once like that. So I think it's about choosing who you hang out with. Sometimes you think certain people are your friends and they're not. So yeah, I don't know. No, I've not felt that way.
Right, quick fire.
Not now.
Quick fire, right? I've got a few just off the top. I'm making these up as I go along, right? But I'll have to ask you.
Go for it.
What is the hardest thing about going out with a millionaire?
Hardest thing. People wanting to use you for money. Not being treated as a normal person. Like literally being treated as you always have to pay for everything. You don't get like, oh, I'm going to buy you a coffee, or I'm going to, like, majority of the time, this is like literally people just assume you're paying. I would say that's definitely one of the things. Matt being Matt, I found meeting a lot of people and then thinking they are wanting to be my friend and it's all about him. Actually, women just throwing themselves at them. Like literally, wanting to meet me for coffee, and then it will be all about him and stuff like that. So I think the hardest thing with Matt, being married to Matt, is just literally people just using you for the money, I guess.
No, not even Matt though, because again, this is what I'm saying. Yes, I know that Matt was successful.
Yeah.
But you're still a millionaire. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you're still an item. It's not like he's the millionaire and you're just a tag along. That's
Yeah,
your
no.
life as well. So
I've worked, basically. I've been set up with the property side of things and stuff, and he's actually guided me through that. So I've literally started investing into property and developing and changing them and things like that. And this like 3-4 years ago, and we actually bought our house that we live in, and it was my project, and I've literally changed it from being 500 and something thousand pounds into I think it's 2 million pounds now.
So there you go.
Like,
so in the last few years, you made 700
and this
grand
is
on
a
the
few
house.
years ago. It was valued and it's changed already again.
Yeah.
So it's probably worth more. But I did that by myself, because by the guidance of him teaching me how to do it. So a lot of people don't know that I'm actually in behind the scenes. I'm working, and I've
Again,
done quite
and
a bit.
that. So I'm pleased you said that, because again, that just shows that it's not just like in for the ride, in with this
No.
guy who's doing you grafting your ass off yourself, and I think
Yeah.
that's important. That is
Like,
important.
Matt puts up with a lot of, like, especially with the franchise and stuff like that, like a lot of he's got to give them all the attention and things like that to grow and things like that. But he puts up with so much, and he does so much behind the scenes that majority of the people don't even know about. And I witnessed that and things like that, and the hard work that he puts into that. And a lot of people don't see what I do behind the scenes and stuff as well with him. So it's not like, I'm not one of those people, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm like literally going to say, oh, I'm doing this and this and this and this. But it's not about showing off. So a lot of people ask, what do I do behind the scenes? Like, what do I do being Matt's wife? Am I just a mum, just literally a wife and things like that? But no, I work beside him. Like, we're a team. That's what we do.
Matt is going to be a billionaire soon. Does he get a lot more attention now from females? And how do you deal with it?
No, he's always had attention. He's just cheeky charmer. You can walk into a room and like the women just, they love him.
Does it make you
But I
feel...
love that,
do you
though.
ever get insecure about that?
No.
No.
He's so sweet, because we joked about it the other day. It's like, I was like, I don't, like, honestly, my Instagram, my Facebook, and like, I don't get any like guys messages and things like that, because I used to get a lot when I got with Matt. And literally the past few years, like, well, they're not getting to you because I've actually told them to bugger off and block them before you even got to the messages. So he does that to mine. But whenever he gets anything, he shows me, and he's like, literally, this woman just messaged me. This woman literally just said this to me. So he's an open book. He's
How do you deal with it when that happens?
I don't know, how do you say? I'm a realist. How do you say it? When you like look at something and you just look at the reality of everything, that's how a woman's going to be acting. So it's just one of those things. I'm not a jealous type. Like, I'm completely like, we're best friends. He shares everything with me. I share everything with him. He accepts me the way I am. I accept him the way he is. So we're open book. We trust each other. We don't hide things from each other.
It's amazing that, like, it. But the reason I'm smiling there, it's funny because obviously I'm being devil's advocate, by the way, right? But you hear a lot of obviously rich men who, and if you've got a lot of money, you can make things disappear, easily. Do you never worry about that? Like if someone like Matt could comfortably probably have an affair if he wanted to.
He could do.
Do you know what I mean? Is that ever think?
But he's majority of the time he's with me, and majority of people know that, like, not that it affects them knowing he's married, because I think that's a more of an attraction for women, though. A man is married. I don't know. It is honestly the thing.
Probably is, isn't it?
And so I've had a lot of like literally cases where women was literally, we were at the championships once, and I was stood there, and this lady completely knows I'm married to Matt, and I'm like, because it's with the industry with the martial arts and stuff like that, all the students, everyone knows me as Master Fiddes' wife. That's what they call me. And this lady was stood there, and she was like literally chatting to Matt, and then she saw me, and I just stood there, and I was just cheeky smiled Matt, and Matt just had this cheeky grin, like literally watching this lady trying to chat him up. Anyways, I walked and said hello, and they don't care. They like literally don't care. But Matt is so he's such a gentleman, and he like I know his personality.
He's
like
going to bring it on them a bit as
yeah,
well.
and I'm like. I we've grown together as a couple, like literally we're best friends, and like there's no reason for him to want to cheat on me. Like I try to be my best, he tries to be his best, and that's it.
I feel like Jeremy Kyle here, like one's if, but what,
Go ahead.
what is Matt's dark times? How do they look? Because again, you're trying to build a business, you're trying to grow, you're trying to constantly improve marginal gains. What does it look like in the mind of someone?
When I met Matt, he was on antidepressants, and this is quite funny because I would say the first 3 days we spent together, and there was media coming up to speak to us because they found out that he was there and with me and things like that at the show, people speaking and blah, blah, blah. And we were sat at the table and his leg was shaking. He has got this habit, like his leg shake, like he does that all the time. But anyways, his hands were shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. He's literally so like nervous being around me. No, it's because like literally after 2 days of being with him, he told me he's on antidepressants, and I like literally being me, I was like, well, you're not having this if you want to be with me, and I chucked it down the toilet. So he was having withdrawal symptoms. Meanwhile, I was thinking he was being nervous around me. But he was literally when I met him, he was going through a very tough time. His mum just passed away with breast cancer. And he had to deal with a lot. He lost Michael. He lost literally his mum, and his family kind of all went separate ways. So it's and he went for a divorce a few years before he met me as well. So he went through a lot. So he was very like going through a depressed time when I got with him, and then he just managed to find himself again and things. But I would say darkest moments with how he is, he's very quiet. He goes quiet. Quiet. He's he's one of the most chill out people I know. Like
it's that's just a mindset thing that
Yeah.
I wouldn't
He
say
has no aggression in him.
No, like it's
no aggression in him. No matter what he gets triggered at, he has no aggression. He goes quiet, completely goes quiet. And if he goes through a phase where someone upsets him, he will block them for a few days and then unblock them, and that's how he deals with it. Then he'll speak properly to a person. He won't that's just who he is. He's just chill. Mr. Chill.
Final question. Is there anything that you want to ask Matt and you haven't yet?
I don't know. Is there anything I would want to ask Matt if I haven't yet?
Is there anything you want the truth to or an answer to?
No. I don't think so, no.
No?
I do, like, I'm sometimes like one of those people, like I had you guys actually spoke about when you had a conversation about the theory of people saying that Michael Jackson could possibly still be alive. Mm-hmm. I sometimes annoy him and ask him, like, is Michael Jackson still alive? Is there a little chance he is?
So okay then, so that being said, do you think, knowing what you know about Michael Jackson, in your husband was Michael Jackson's bodyguard, do you think he could be alive?
No, because I think Matt would have told me by now. With everything I know, he would have told me.
Monique, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So if you've enjoyed this conversation and you like things like this, make sure you click up there and watch this episode.